G'day and welcome to the NRL Week 1 Finals Preview. Can you smell it? Spring is in the air. It's September. It's finals footy. If you haven't got a buzz in your step, there's something wrong with you if you're into your rugby league. I love it. This is the best time of the year. We're at the cream of the crop has risen. We're down to the final 8. So anyone outside the 8, enjoy your Mad Mondays and your holidays in Bali or wherever you go. Go to Phuket. That's where I like to go. For the teams left, it's a brand new comp. The teams in the 5 to 8 positions, you've got elimination semis this week, but they need to win 4 games straight to win the competition. Now, the reason they're in positions 5 to 8 is that they have found inconsistency the problem all year. They can't string 4 wins together. So for teams outside the top 4 to win the comp, someone's got to get on a massive roll. So generally the winners will come from the top 4. Now, we're starting with, does it get any better than this? The Book of Feuds is reopening another chapter. It's the Roosters versus the Bunnies at the SCG on Friday. Now, judiciary news straight up. Jared Waweria-Hargreaves won at the judiciary last night. Took him on and won, so he's playing after he's hit on Liam Knight, so they get to renew their rivalry this week. So the Roosters get their enforcer, but the Bunnies have lost theirs. Sam Burgess is out for that hair pull on Roosters rookie Billy Smith last week. It wasn't just for that. That's normally a finable offence, but Sam's layered up a few finable offences and it's all added up to a week out. So people thinking he's out for the hair pulling, it's not only because of that, it's the amount of charges that have all built up. But bad news for the Bunnies, they're going to miss Sam, something shocking. Now, English people, Ryan Hall is named on an extended reserves bench in jersey 21. He won't play unless something happens in the warm-up. And good news for the Burgeye. Thomas Burgess is back. He's playing off the bench. Now, George Burgess is back from his 9-week suspension for gouging, but he's been named in jersey 18 on the extended reserves. Now, I'm going to throw my little theory in here, and I actually think George will play for Dean Britt. That's just my own thinking. I think he's got to be ready to roll, even if it's a 30-minute stint. Damien Cook loves playing off the Burgess boys' fast play, the balls and momentum. So I got a feeling that George will play. Now, this is such a big clash. It's finals. Guess who came into Rabbitohs training this week? On my command, unleash the gladiator. Russell Crowe came into the Bunnies burrow this week to read some chapters from the Book of Feuds to fire the boys up. They're playing the Roosters. I don't think they need firing up, but apparently Rusty is pressing all the buttons. And if you saw their second half last week, the other man who knows how to press the Bunnies buttons better than anyone is the master coach, Wayne Bennett. So let's see if the Wayne Bennett influence can get the Bunnies a win from a grand final appearance. Now, in saying that, I think the Roosters have a gear to go up. They rested a few players last week. They're all back this week. They're nearly at full strength. They're only really missing Jake Friend. And he may be back next week or the week after, depending on whether they win or lose. And they're very well placed to go back-to-back, the Roosters. They're looking good. They lethal left edge. Now, running that show on that left edge is Luke Keary. He missed last week due to his child being born. He gets Latrell Mitchell into the game. Now, James Tedesco may be the best player on the planet at the moment, but the most influential player in the Roosters camp is Luke Keary. I think he could be the key to unlocking the Bunnies' defence, getting Latrell Mitchell going, and the combination with Daniel Tupou and then James Tedesco, either inside or outside Keary, I think could tear the Bunnies apart. But this is the Book of Feuds. They won't tear the Bunnies apart. This will be tough, hard, grinding. It's finals footy. Now, South. Whereas the Roosters love hitting that left edge or the right edge through Angus Crichton when he comes on and Joseph Manu, the Bunnies love going down Main Street through quick play the balls, momentum gained by the Burgess boys, Tavita Totola. You'll have Damien Cook. If there's one marker, watch Damien Cook, he's off. That then brings Cody Walker and Adam Reynolds into the game. Cody Walker is getting back to his best. He's been really good the last couple of weeks, and Adam Reynolds choked the Chooks. If you remember their first meeting this year, South have won both meetings this year, which is but that means nothing now we're into finals footy. But Adam Reynolds was the key in game 1. His kicking game was on point. But I think the Roosters with Slam and Sam out and Luke Keary back, I just think Roweria Hargroves and Siasiwa Takiaho up front, they'll lay the foundation for the Roosters' backs to shine. There won't be much in it. I think the Roosters will get the week off and will win by 6, and the losers will play the winner of the Sea Sharks game. Now, let's move to Saturday and another top 4 finish final. It's 1v4 at Amy Park in Melbourne. It's the Storm versus the Raiders. Now, English people, all 4 Raiders are playing. Your English Raiders are playing. Ryan Sutton's coming off the bench though. You've got Josh Hodgson at hooker. John Bateman is back. He was rested last week, and Elliot Whitehead. Now, normally going down to Amy Park frightens a lot of teams, intimidates them. But Amy Park holds no fear for the Green Machine. If you remember last time they went down there, probably, I think it was a month ago, the Storm blew out to an 18-0 lead, and then the Green Machine just motored past them to win 22-18. But the problem is for the Raiders, does lightning strike twice? Both games against the Storm this year, the Raiders have given up a 12-0 lead very early and an 18-0 lead. If they do that again this week, they will lose, and they will take the long, hard road to the grand final. They can't afford a slow start this week, especially with Cameron Smith, such a key player. Come finals time, you watch how many times he scoots out a dummy half. Off the back of, I think the props hold the key to this game. The forward battle will be sensational. Jesse Bromwich and Nelson Asafa-Solomona up against Josh Papali and Dinamo Slui. Josh Papali, to me, is the form prop of the NRL. Watch him try and belt through the middle of the Storm and put them off their game. Some big hits as well. Now, the spine for the Storm is sensational. Ryan Pappenhausen. Cameron Munster's back after being rested. Jerome Hughes and Cameron Smith. Now you look at the Raiders. They haven't been in the finals since 2016. So you've got Charles Nickel-Klokstad. Chansey hasn't played finals footy. Jack White and Aiden Caesar haven't been there for 3 years. And Josh Hodgson, luckily, has that test match experience. And this is where I think the Englishman can be the key. Bateman, Whitehead, Hodgson, between the 3 of them, they've played countless Super League grand finals, test matches, World Cup finals, plenty of Super League experience and international experience. And I think they will be the ones that will try to settle the Raiders down and also settle Jack Whiten and Aiden Caesar down, because the game management is where the Raiders have to be up a notch, because you know what the Storm are going to bring. Okay? Now, I think the problem for the Raiders is that the Storm, you know they're going to play final standard. They're going to come out flying out of the blocks, and they will try and control the ruck. And if it's refereed loosely, the Storm are going to be in control of this game. If the referees pocket the whistle, the Storm will slow the ruck down. The Raiders will feel like they're in the spin cycle on the washing machine. They do get, though, a lot of players back this week. Other than Bateman, we've got Rapana back. Joey Leilua is back from suspension. Joseph Tarpany is back from injury. This is a full-strength Raiders team. And I think it'll be a very close game. But I think at home, I think the Storm will be too tough and move to within 1 game of a 4th straight grand final appearance. And I think the Raiders will lose and play the winner of the Eels and Broncos. I'm picking Storm by 10. Now we move to Saturday night, and it's elimination, the start of the elimination games. 6v7. It's the Seagulls versus the Sharks at Asbestos Land. You can call off the Grim Reaper. Apparently the asbestos found on the hill last week has been covered over. And kiddies, you're free to watch the game on the hill without fear of dropping dead in 30 years. Okay, so don't worry, rock up to the game. Fingers crossed, it's been ticked off by the NRL. What could go wrong? Okay, now with all their injuries this year, that was about the only good news Manly have had this week, because they desperately needed to play this game at home. The Sharks have won 5 out of 47 matches at this venue. You heard me right, 5 from 47. They have a horrendous record at this venue. Now Manly, no Tom Trbojevic, no Joel Thompson, no Curtis Irinen. Marty Tapau is out as well after absolutely nearly decapitating Ray Stone last week. I'm sorry, Match Review Committee, how'd Marty only get 1 week? Sam Burgess pulls hair and Marty nearly takes someone's head off, like seriously. Anyway, Now, the issue with Manly, don't write them off. They've been one of the best teams all year, considering all the injuries they've had. They've been my team of the year. And Des Hasler, the Mad Professor, has been my coach of the year. No team likes backs to the wall more than Manly. Everyone's worried except for Des and the boys. They will have belief that they can get the job done over the Sharks. And Des will have punched in some algorithm that'll get them home. Now, the keys, with Tommy Trbojevic out, they also have a poor record. So you think the Sharks have a poor record at the venue, Manly have a poor record without Tom Trbojevic. But that will just mean they'll change the way they play. They'll grind. They'll grind and try eke out a victory. This won't be an open game of footy. But the problem is, guess who likes playing grinding finals footy? The Sharks. And they started the finals early at an intimidating suburban venue. They beat the Tigers in the winner-take-all match last week at Leichhardt. So I don't think they'll be intimidated by Lotto Land. And on paper, the Sharks have the edge. They have a really solid forward pack. Wade Graham, Andrew Fafita, Paul Gallen, Matt Pryor leading the way. And you've got Chad Townsend steering the team around, which will release Sean Johnson, because Sean Johnson, when he's had to run the show, has fallen a bit short in finals games before at the Warriors. Now, with Chad Townsend running the show, he can now just ease back, try and set up Britton Nakora and just play his game. Run the ball, Sean. Run the ball. Now, the benches are where there's really a key, a really strong Sharks bench. And if you look at Manly, their bench shows the lack of depth in the club. And they've actually had to go into Jurassic Park to pull out the T-Rex. Tony Williams might be back. They've asked for special dispensation from the NRL so Williams can play. I can't even remember the last time he pulled on a jersey at NRL level. That's where they're at. Tony Williams at his best could throw Sharks everywhere and put a massive hole in their campaign. But I think with Bronson Xerri, Josh Dugan and Josh Morris, I just think all over the park the Sharks have too much class despite the Lotto Land factor. I think the Sharks will end a really brave Seagulls season. I'm going the Sharks by 7. And that leads us to our final playoff match, 5v8. It's an elimination. It's the Eels versus the Broncos at Bank West. Now, we know at Bank West the Eels lift. They go up a gear. Earlier this year at Bank West, they thrashed the Broncos 38-10. About 3 weeks ago, they lost at Suncorp to the Broncos in Golden Point, but there was a controversial forward pass that went against the Eels. That was a great game. Now, the Broncos are coming in off a poor performance. They were belted by the Bulldogs last week. And this game comes down to, I think, the forwards, because the Eels have the back five to win this game. But the Broncos have the forwards that can win the game on their own. Payne Haas, David Fafita, and to a lesser degree, Matt Lodge and Joe Afahengawi. Sensational. But you've got all these forwards. You've got Katoni Staggs out in the backs and Anthony Milford, but the halves are the problem, and they've been the problem all year for the Broncos. Who's going to steer this side around? As Gordon Tallis has been saying, they've got an F1 car without a driver. Now, the Eels, Nathan Brown's back, and that's a huge in, because between him, Manu Ma'u, and Junior Paulo, who's been playing out of his skin, if they hold the Broncos forwards, Mitchell Moses will run rampant, and you've got the back three, Sivo, Micah Sivo, Fergie Blake Ferguson, King Gutho, Clint Gutherson. They start the sets and they finish them off the back of that momentum. Now, the big key is the Eels like a fast game. Both teams love a fast game. But if the Eels don't get out of the blocks quickly and the Broncos can hold them, it's game on, because the Eels bank on Bank West, getting a fast start, getting the crowd going. This will be a near sellout. They get a lift from it. If the Broncos can take the crowd out of the equation, stick within range of the Eels at half time, they can win this game. But can they play for 80 minutes and play a structured game? Basically, if the Broncos are going to win, it'll come off individual brilliance from either a Katoni Staggs, an Anthony Milford, a Payne Haas, or David Fafita, who are scoring tries out of nowhere. They're not creating a lot of try-scoring opportunities. They're just scoring out of nowhere. I think at home, I think the Eels are the better side, and I think they will live to fight another day and end Anthony Seibold's rookie season at the Broncos. I'm going to pick the Eels by 10. So my winners this week are the Roosters, the Storm, the Sharks, and the Eels. To me, we're going to say bye to the Seagulls and the Broncos. That's my tips for the NRL Finals Week 1. I'll see you next week. Good luck with your tipping.